Hi there! For this video, we are tasked to find the value of x minus y given this expression. So the first thing that we would note is that this one out here, note that the square root of 3y minus x is greater than or equal to 0. So the reason behind this is that the square root function cannot be negative. It should always be 0 or positive. Also, note that this one out here, we focus next on this one. Now, since we know that sine x, the absolute value of sine x, is less than or equal to 1. So we know this since this basic knowledge from trigonometry, especially when we have the unit circle. We know that since it's a unit circle, its maximum value is only around 1 and its minimum value is around -1. So it's bounded there. So from here, we can write this one as sine x is from -1 to 1. Now, converting this to negative, we would have, so multiplying negative both sides, -1, we will have 1 is greater than equal to negative sine x greater than or equal to -1. So basically, the operation reversed out here, since that is how multiplying negatives in an inequality works. Now from here, we can add 1 both sides, so that we would obtain 2, 1 minus sine x, and 0. So we also know that 1 minus sine x is actually out here. It is greater than 0. So we know that both expressions out here and out here are greater than or equal to 0. So since their sum is equal to 0, then both of them must be equal to 0. Since if one of them is greater than 0, say if we have 1 minus sine x to be not equal to 0, so this would be 1 minus sine x is greater than 0. So for their sum to be 0, square root of 3y minus x must be negative. But this cannot be, since 3y minus x is greater than or equal to 0. And the same goes for 3y minus x. If it is greater than 0, 1 minus sine x cannot be a negative value, since it's greater than or equal to 0. Which means that, let's remove this first. Our only possible case is that let's remove this totally. Is that square root of 3y minus x is equal to 0 and 1 minus sine x is equal to 0. So yeah. So from there, we have, starting with 1 minus sine x equals 0, we can already solve for the value of x out here. So we could subtract. Now actually we could move this to the other side, the sine x. So we will have 1 is equal to sine x, or simply sine x is equal to 1. Now from here we note that the only values of x that could make this one is equal to 1 is actually x is equal to pi over 2, or this one in degrees is 90 degrees. Note that there are more values that could make this 1. So if we look at the unit circle, the sine value will have a value of 1 out here when it repeats here. So after 1 revolution, after 360 degrees, or after 2 pi, it would have again a value of 1. But since we have in the problem stated that x is only from 0 to pi, so we only consider this one out here. And the only value out here that would make it a value of sine x equals 1 is pi over 2, or 90 degrees. So from there, we have square root of 3y minus x is equal to 0. Now we could already solve this one. Note that for this to be true, 3y minus x must be equal to 0. And now we can move out some values out here. We can move x to the right side, which would give us 3y equals x. Divide both sides by 3, would give us y is equal to 1 over 3 x. Since we know what x is from above, then we could write this one as y is equal to 1 over 3 times pi over 2, which is pi over 6. So we now have our values of y and x and y. And so we can already find x minus y. So therefore, x minus y is equal to pi over 2 minus pi over 6. So this is just basic subtraction of fractions, which would give us, you could use the butterfly method out here. So we would have 6 pi minus 2 pi all over 12, which is 4 pi over 12. Simplifying would give us pi over 3. And that is the answer for this problem. So the key in solving this problem is observing that the given expression, if we group them out here, both of them must be greater than or equal to 0. So that means since their sum is equal to 0, both of them, the only possible case is that both of them are equal to 0. And from that, we'll be able to solve x and y and get the value of x minus y. So it's just observing that one, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment down below any comments or suggestions regarding this one, or any solutions that you have. So yeah, that is all for this video.